So I have a rant, and my rant is that I need multi-tools that don't have knives. Now, Chell, you love knives. Why would you want a multi-tool without a knife? Actually, several reasons. For one, a multi-tool is a really good consolidation for a lot of things, but theoretically they don't do any of their individual things as well as any of the other things. Any of them. Now, I have a lot of knives. I love knives. I carry knives on me. And, if I need to use a knife, I will get my knife. A lot of people who don't like knives nearly as much as me will just use a Swiss Army knife and it's perfect for them. Swiss Army knives are great. That said, there are times that you can't carry one. For example, if you are in an environment that does not allow knives. And unfortunately, if that's the case, you also lose the convenience of all the other tools on the multi tool. Now, what might those situations be? I work in a school, so I can't have knives, when I'm working with kids. I travel for work, and obviously we all know that the TSA, you can check in your multi tools and stuff like that. But I actually don't usually have baggage that I check in. I'm mostly just using a small suitcase, that I put in the overhead compartment. I get my hormones at Planned Parenthood, and so the Planned Parenthood I go to has sometimes had like bomb threats, and it's just unfortunate because people are crazy and will threaten you know and so they have like this whole security system, and I can't bring in a multi-tool. I used to have one on my keychain. It was a pretty decently sized one, had a lot of things on it, but they said you can't bring this in. So I had to run back to my car. It's down the street, blah blah blah. I gotta deal with the stupid key ring, and I got to the point where it was just so inconvenient that I don't have it on my person anymore. I keep it in my car, but then it brings me to situations where, like, oh, I wish I had a bottle opener. I wish I had a screwdriver. Random things like that, scissors, all this shit. And so, unfortunately for me, I've been trying to make this EDC kit of mine that has the ability to have all my multi tools on me, and I never ever have to worry about it. I get my pouch and I just leave the door, and it's got everything I could possibly need. But if I'm in a situation where I can't bring my knife, I remove it from my pouch and I leave it in my car or whatever, or I leave it at home if I'm going to go somewhere like that. Um, this has resulted in a nightmare headache because it should be easier. Now, what tools do I need? I, Chell Wong, like nail clippers. A lot of things don't have nail clippers. I get it. It's kind of niche. I had scissors. I like scissors. I like screwdrivers and bottle openers, and, like, if it's a nail file or whatever the thing, if it's with nail clippers. And sometimes like a comb could be helpful in terms of a not knife blade. If it's big enough. So here's the situation. I thought I found the perfect thing. This is the Revlon 6-in-1 multi-tool. It is nail clippers, and it has scissors, and it has no blade. What could be better than this? Well, unfortunately, it leaves a lot to be desired. As you can see, it's only got 3.7 out of 5 stars. It's kind of middling. That means that there's a decent number of people putting 3 stars or less. What do we got here? In this, the nail clippers are quite large. They're kind of bulky. They have this thing that can catch. A lot of times when you have multi-tools that do have nail clippers, they have to have a thick chassis in order to account for the thickness of the nail clippers themselves. However, because it is the nail clippers, the chassis is just kind of unnecessarily large to account for. Only 4 tools. Now, these 4 tools, this cuticle pusher is like this plastic one that's like pretty cool and helpful, but it does sometimes catch on things. It's the easiest thing to pull out because the other 3, the file and the cuticle trimmer and the scissors, you can't actually pull out. There's not really any way to do so, even though it looks like there is. And so pulling the cuticle pusher out, because these 2 are adjacent to that, they kind of swivel out with it or in the opposite direction. Unfortunately, the nail file, which I find way more, I've never used this cuticle trimmer, the nail file doesn't pull out. It doesn't. You have to use something else to push it out. And that obviously leaves a lot to be desired. So, unfortunately, just it being bulky, it having just kind of a poor construction, it's like, it's fine. As for now, it'll do what I need to do. But there's got to be something better, right? Well, unfortunately, I've been spending literal days and hours trying to find a better answer. and there just really isn't one. So here we have the Jet Setter. The Victorinox Jet Setter is probably one of the best known TSA quote unquote compliant multi-tools. Theoretically, as long as TSA is not going to be a jerk to you, you can bring this. It has scissors, it has this bottle opener with a screwdriver. Apparently, this can be used for wire clippers, and it's got the signature tweezers and toothpick thing going on. This is pretty solid, but unfortunately, it doesn't carry all the things that I need. Like, it's like a maybe, but at this point, if I got this, then I'm also carrying nail clippers, and I was like, what if I could combine both? Well, there is the nail clipper 580, which has scissors, the nail clipper file, these two things that people care less about, the tweezers and toothpick. But unfortunately, it's got a knife. I know, right? Now, there is the 582, but it is just nail clippers, tweezers, and toothpick. There is no file. There's no file, and there's the no nail cleaner, which is really annoying. That would have made a lot of things better. If only this existed with a knife, or if only the nail clipper 580 existed instead with using the Jet Setter's bottle opener screwdriver. That is my dream multi-tool. But unfortunately, it doesn't exist, and you can't really mod your Swiss Army knives very easily. There are people that do it, but doing so voids your warranty, and it's not really easy. You'd have to use a knife to pry off these scales. Now, there are other TSA compliant multi-tools, such as the Leatherman style PS. But the problem also for me, I don't need pliers. I've never needed pliers when I've been out of my house. Now, this, of course, does not apply to everyone. There are a lot of people who do need pliers. And if you do need pliers, great. You have several options. You have the style PS, which is apparently quite lightweight, small. It's got a file, it's got scissors, it's got tweezers, it's got pliers, this little carabiner thing. Pretty cool. But it's also $84, so, it's a pretty penny. Now, there's also, let's see, the Gerber dime, but I think this has been out of production, and it's still quite a bit expensive. It's got a lot of tools on this, but like one of them maybe is a saw. I don't know. It's a little. I think no. What was it? Is this the dime? No. This is the current one. This is the Gerber Gear Multiplier 600. Now the Gerber dime is much smaller, but I don't think it's. I think it's discontinued. Oh no, actually, you can still get this for 30. So this is actually pretty solid. So if you're looking for a multi-tool that does allow for pliers, that's cool. But I just find the pliers are large and bulky, and I would rather, instead of it being pliers, be scissors. If I could just have this swivelly part be the scissors. There's also the Next Tool Mini Sailor Pliers Lite, which is pretty good. Apparently, this is good for, if you have a kid that wants a multi-tool. This is a very safe multi-tool. It's quite compact. This would be great if this was scissors. If this was scissors, I would absolutely get that, There's this one too, but again, it's just a little bit bulkier than I want. And again, it's like, well, if I get one of these, then I have to get nail clippers too. And so I'm not getting my bottle opener. I have like it on my keychain, but there's just a lot of things that I'm like, I wish all of these things I could want are consolidated into one thing. Now, there are some that look really promising. There's this. This is the Roxxon S501U. These scissors, they swing out, and this knife blade is actually replaceable. However, each of these knife blade combinations are like almost $30. So they come in sets of 3, and the one I wish I could just buy fucking one goddamn fucking set of blades. They have like a multi-tool blade, they have a comb blade, they have a diamond file, and everything else is a sharp blade. And unfortunately, the comb and the multi-tool come together with like, I think, a saw blade. Yeah, you can see the saw blade down here, and the file is something else. And they're 25 each. So if you wanted just one blade, you have to get a collection of 2 other blades that you're just going to have that don't do anything. And it is like a comb and it's scissors, and they seem to be really solid scissors, and the comb is actually large enough that it could be solid. But like, again, it's just, expensive, like, and you have a bunch of needless things because then you have like 3 blades that you don't want to use. There are other multi-tools that look promising. This is similar to the nail clipper 580. It's got nail clippers, scissors, bottle opener slash can opener, screwdriver slash file, and of course the knife. And while it looks like you could theoretically possibly remove the knife, I don't think it is possible. It's just really annoying. And actually, what's cool is that you can press down this thing and it helps flick out some of the tools. I would love this if it didn't have a knife. If it didn't have a knife, it'd be perfect. This, once again, I like that these are like scissor focused multi tools. But again, everything's got to have a knife, and that means that you can't bring it in and everywhere. There are some modular multi tools. The goat being one of them, but as you can see, it's not exactly cheap, and it's pliers based. And I don't need pliers. It's heavy, it's bulky. I would love it if something was scissors focused. There is another one. There's the where was it? The Windler. Now the Windler is cool because it's magnetic and you can just put any of these on. But the Windler by itself is 77. The scissors are 51. That's it's just so much. It's just so much. And there's a comb in there, but it's just so much. It's so much. So like, yeah. And I think I saw another Kickstarter one, but it might have just been this. I don't remember. But I saw some other modular multi-tool, and everything just either is pliers or it's so expensive. Like, maybe I could justify doing this. It ends up being like over $50 for some solid scissors and having a comb that I could keep on me in my person. But EDC is a lot of it is just spending money on things that, like, do you actually need? And you're trying to find something that's efficient, size wise, function wise, weight wise, and I just unfortunately find myself that this is the best that I can do, and there isn't really a better option. Even if I could get, like, again, the Victorinox Jet Setters, like, this would suffice to cover a lot of things. I am also going to get the SOG Baton 1. Hopefully. The SOG Baton Q1 has been discontinued for who knows how long. There is theoretically some that you can get from AliExpress if you're willing to trust it, but the SOG Baton has been out of production for a hot minute. It's not even on the SOG website. The SOG Baton is a scissors, and it has a pen, which is really nice, and it has a little bottle opener or some. Maybe this one doesn't. There is a bottle. Oh, you can see it in this picture. There's a bottle opener thing here. All the SOG, there's SOG Baton Q2 through 4, but those all have knives. But this being not in production and not sure that I want to trust AliExpress since, again, it hasn't existed. So is this cheap Chinese knockoff even going to be the thing? It claims to be SOG, but I don't know. It's a little dicey. And so, I've just looked around at like modular multi-tools, and honestly, really what I just want, you get your goat tools and whatever, and there's some other things, but it's just a lot of things are just overbuilt for me. The best thing, besides the non-existent nail clipper 580, whatever, 583, the non-existent one that would have no knife. Honestly, I would just love it if I had basic nail clippers that also had the file and scissors. That's it. I have some small nail clippers. Some of them have like the little file and like under nail cleaner thing. And if it also had scissors on top of that, it would be perfect. It would be perfect. Screwdriver, all these other things, like, I don't need those very often. I do find myself needing nail clippers surprisingly frequently. I don't know, I have stupid nails. And theoretically, you could try and use scissors to like trim the dead skin off the nails that you can find instead of ripping them and then, oh no, ouchie. But I don't know. I'm just frustrated because there needs to be more multi-tools that don't have knives. If you have more multi-tools that don't have knives, if they're scissor focused, if they are, they don't have pliers, that would make everything so much easier. But I've tried to find multi tools that are like scissor focused with like like it's so hard. Everything's got a tiny knife, and there are some things that I don't know. Like I don't need a wrench either. Like a lot of like the little card ones have wrenches, but I have tried through searching YouTube and Google and all these other places if I could find just literally okay, honestly, if you know of a nail clipper that has scissors attached to it and no knife and is better than this, ideally it has under the nail file cleaner. If you could find one of those, let me know. Like legitimately, please, if you know of any multi tools that don't have knives and like have scissors, like let me know. I am so desperate to know if there are no knives, ideally no pliers. Like I just want to know more about them. Just comment them, DM me. I am there's no wrong answers. Even if I've seen it before or I've heard about it before, I'm always just trying to find better options. And I just am not very satisfied. I'm just finding myself very dissatisfied with my tool consolidation and lightweight carry and uh so yeah, basically that's the situation. Um I if the Leatherman Micra had no knife, it would be perfect. If the Victorinox 580 had no knife, it would be perfect. If uh, the Roxxon M4 had no knife, it would be perfect. There are so many things. If I could remove the knife, and that's the thing, you can't even remove the knife. If it was easy to remove, then like that's cool. But like a lot of things involve disassembling it in a way that would void warranty, and there's nothing to necessarily replace it. So you would theoretically, if you did replace it, have a lot of wiggle. And I don't know. I'm just frustrated. So thanks for tuning into my rant about how more multi tools should be bladeless, and like there's so many goddamn good multi tools. You just can't bring them into all the places that you might need. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Have a good one, and let me know what you use for your multi tools, please.